Hello and welcome to another conversation with T. Adeyemo. It is Tuesday, the 28th of March, and we'll be joined today by Mary Noah Inda Temraye. Mary Noah Inda Temraye. She'll be joining us to talk about mental health in children. So why is mental health important, and why are we spending some time this afternoon talking about it? Mary Noah will give us all that information, but here is a little bit of information about Mary Noah and our work. Mary Noah is a mental health advocate and an aspiring public speaker in Edmonton, Alberta. She's a well-educated mindfulness facilitator for people dealing with PTSD and complex PTSD. In addition to a mental health first aid certification, Mary Noah is certified in hypnotherapy for healing childhood trauma. These certifications, combined with her fitness and spiritual background, they help her provide holistic engaging sessions for also our clients. Mary joins us now to talk about mental health, particularly in children. Good afternoon, Mary Noah. Can you hear me? Oh, there you are. Good afternoon, Mary. Thank you for joining Big Conversations with T. You there? Okay. I'll also wait for Mary Noah's camera and everything to work. I think it's important to have this conversation around mental health in children, or mental health generally, because we live in a very stressful community. Mary Noah is here. Hi. Good afternoon, Mary Noah. How are you?
Hi, thanks. I'm good.
Okay, thank you so very much for doing this. So I was do you agree with my introduction? I said you're a mental health advocate and you're an aspiring public speaker. Well, why are you passionate about mental health?
Because mental health is everything. When you are in a good mental health state, everything seems to flow. And my passion is really connected with the children and youth as a teacher, because they are really connected to my heart.
Okay, awesome. So how did you get into this space where you are a mental health advocate, a mental health expert?
It started when I started teaching. I realized that I had many of my students that were actually struggling with different mental health challenges, a lot of stress and anxiety, and a lot of things were happening at home, bullying and all that. And I found it was hard for me to teach those kids when they were preoccupied with other things going on. And as a parent and a teacher, I try to find how can I help them, even if it's just a little bit, to give them the tool, because they were lacking the tool to cope with the challenges they were going through. So I started myself to do some research, and I went to many seminar, workshop, and got myself certified in many things. But one of the things that I found that really stuck was mindfulness-based practice. So either it's active.
Okay, hold on a second before we get into the practice itself. So when you talk about children that are stressed in schools, are these children of immigrants? Were they Black children, or it did not really matter if they were new immigrants to Canada? You were just seeing a rise in maladjusted children?
No, it's not just immigrant. It was for really everyone. And all the children and youth, they all have different challenges, just as us, right? So the immigrant that were just coming, like when I was teaching at a school in the north end of Edmonton, it was pretty diversified in terms of culture. So we have some kids coming from Somalia, from Congo, from Rwanda, and they all have different challenges. And those kids were dealing with either moving from another country, coming here, languages and new school system and all that. And the other kids that maybe Caucasian, they were dealing with other things that were going on at home. It's either the parents situation, financial situation, academic setback. So mental health doesn't discriminate. We all know that. So no, it's not just for immigrant children or a set of category of social people.
Okay, so here is the thing. When life throws you a bomb, for some people they walk away. They stop at the road and go find something else to do. So you were really motivated by the suffering of your children. You decided to take it up as a vocation, as a calling. Like if your mental health is not safe, I'm gonna work with you. So why didn't you just call it quits with all the problems you saw in children? Why? Because it's hard enough being a teacher, let alone being a mental health person. Why didn't you just end it right there? Like, I'm done. What pushed you to explore this field just a little bit more?
Oh, I had my moment where I wanted to quit, but really what kept me going, I think it was this code that says, be the change that you want to see in the world. And another quote that I saw was like, be the adult you wish you had when you were younger. And when I came to Canada, we came here as refugees, me and my family. And we went through a lot, so like the whole trauma of war and the trauma of moving with that, us planning to move and leave our family and country. And we landed in Quebec. We were the only Black family there. So we went through a lot, and we didn't have any help on terms of mental health. So seeing those kids, I was just like, I remember being in their shoes at one point and feeling so lost. I want to be the person I wish I had when I was at that stage. So that's what kept me going. And that what made me really been passionate about mental health, because I realized I would probably be somewhere else if I had that help younger.
Well, amen. I thank you. Thank you for hanging on. Thank you for the work you do now, because it's important. And I know as a parent, we maybe not all parents take the time out to examine the mental health of their children. It takes me to this question, like, what do you think? And I hear what you're saying to me. You're from Rwanda. You came in as a refugee during the Rwandan war. Is this correct?
No, I am Burundian. I moved to Rwanda in 1988 because there was a genocide in Burundi. Some conflict.
We talked about the genocide in Burundi.
It was the same thing that happened in Rwanda. And then we moved from Rwanda to Canada because of the genocide that happened, and people started to hear about it in 1994 here, I think, in Canada. So it was the same conflict that just reached around, and that's how I end up here. Yes.
So, oh wow. Okay. So this is like decades on from the Hutu and the Tutsi massacre, the Tutsi massacre by the Hutus, Rwanda.
Sad story. Yeah.
So I want to go into that, but if we go into that, we will not focus on children. So maybe that would be, something that we uncover for another conversation. When you look at when you came into Canada 1994 and you look at 2023, the causes of mental health, what might it be for a modern kid right now?
What might be what?
The causes of mental health challenges, would it be the same as it was in 1994? What I guess my problem is, what do children find triggering? What are the modern day causes of mental health in our children today? Or what I've seen as a mental health practitioner, as a teacher.
Yeah, there's many factors that contribute to that. Again, like I said, depending on what is your background, we all have different stressor. But like everyone knows, after the COVID, Matt, dealing with the uncertainty of things, like those 2.5 years, 3 years were really impactful on everyone, especially on children that are in that stage of brain development where they're trying to understand the world around them, and the whole uncertainty of it, and the changes that happen so fast, and the fear that was around it, and the misinformation and the confusing information, all that really did affect them. And being online for the 2 years for school, it was big, and it's traumatic for them. So I would say if there is something that is common, it's really that stress and anxiety that come with the future, and the fact that they are behind academically, and not knowing and not feeling safe. Like this, for many kids, this world doesn't feel safe anymore, because they have been told that they could be like a threat for the grandma, a threat for people around them, and they have to protect themselves from other people. They have to not only protect themselves, but to be away from people. So there's this fear of the other person. And as human, we are social being, and we need to be around. So there's this connection between who we are, where we belong, and how I relate myself to the other people. And yeah, so you can see that. And it's kind of joke when, like my daughter, she was born during COVID, and she has a hard time socializing when we go outside of the home, or being babysat even. And people keep saying, oh yeah, that's the COVID baby, because it did affect the way we interact with other human beings, and that create a big strain on mental health.
I hear what you're saying. Thank you. So what do you offer to children? How do you help children overcome this sort of trauma from pandemic, age-long trauma, just trauma?
For me, my specialty is mindfulness-based stress reduction. So as we know, mindfulness, it has to be a combination. It's not like a therapy that stands by its own, but combined with, let's say, therapy. I know today, these days, it's very hard to find a therapist and a psychologist. I think the waiting list, last time I checked, is 2 years to see a therapist for a child, which is very long. So what I offer, it's mindfulness stress reduction. And what that mindfulness does is really to ground you in the present moment. And when you're grounded in the present moment, either through your breath or through some exercise, some pressure points, some meditation, you realize that in this present moment, there's no past, there's no present. You are here and now. And in this here and now, you're able to calm yourself and reduce your stress, reduce your anxiety. And what mindfulness does too is to create a new neural pathways in your brain that are actually going to create changes and permanent change for someone who has been dealing with a high level of anxiety. And it's not uncommon to hear people saying, like, since I've been starting mindfulness practice, I've been cutting off on my medication and the amount I'm taking, and some have completely come off of it because they have those tools. And that's why I really love that practice so much. And children just grasp on it. And the way I do it with kids, it's really using the imagination, because kids do have a really great imagination, and imagination help you reduce that stress and anxiety.
So what, excuse me, Marina, what about parents? Are you suggesting that perhaps we don't have our own triggers or mental health issues, yet you just focus, do this mindfulness, would it work on adults as well?
Yes, absolutely. And I am actually working on an online course for parents on how to raise an emotional and socially intelligent child. And it's in that course, what I do is I show you what you can do, because you have to heal yourself before you can help someone. You cannot give from an empty cup. So for the parents, it really I want to show them this is what it can do for you. Now, this is how you can do the same exercise with your child, adapted to their level. So yeah, yes, I do work with parents as well. And I had some few workshops that I did lead for parents and teachers, and I have received very great feedback on that one.
Do you find more happiness? I'm really happy for you, Marino, because you're a very beautiful, talented young woman, and tonight is really your night in every way, Marino. Do you find more pleasure in doing this work or than as a teacher? Do you miss teaching at all?
The only thing I miss as a teacher is really being in the classroom with my student. So now what I'm doing, it's actually really fulfilling because I am doing something that nourishes my soul. And I love seeing the smile on the kids when we, at the end of the yoga practice, and saying, oh, can we have more of this? Can we do more meditation? Can we do more yoga poses? And I just love it. So I am actually teaching, just not in the system, just not in the school system. So I am really doing what I feel I was meant to do. And I feel like I found my calling, that this is what God wanted me to do. It's really to heal children through the mindfulness practice. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So how are parents able to afford, because my mindset, and forgive me, it's probably so African, when you start to think that therapy belongs to, oh, I see my therapist, so you got to be rich to do therapy, or you got to be maybe even white to do therapy. How are Black families able to afford you, for example? Does this go on the AHS?
So the way I do it right now, I collaborate with organizations such as African Center, and through them I offer the service. So the parent can go to African Center. If you don't know what is African Center, it's a non-for-profit organization, and you can access many free services through them. There is other organization that offer some program that can really help improve your mental health. I know BCW do offer some program as well for girls. And really, if you cannot afford therapy, you can always talk to your doctor, and the doctor can refer you to different organization. There's different Black community that can also bring in a specialist that can help with mental health for children and youth. So you know what I always say, where there is a will, there's a way. And I think we have to just shift the way we think, that yes, I'm not gonna lie, therapy is expensive. And not everyone can offer to have therapy. But however, there's always a way to get through it. And if you look through non-for-profit organization, there is a way you can get some mental health services.
Some sort of support. Okay, I hear you there. Thank you. All right, so when we talk about mental health for children, and we talk about the causes, and we talk about mindfulness, and the fact that parents actually need to be cued into what is offered socially by not-for-profits. Do you find this a limitation? For example, a clueless parent may not even know where to go, 1, and 2. Are you a member of the Alberta Black Therapists? Is that one way people can find you to use your services?
Unfortunately, I am not, because to be member of the Black Therapist, you have to have a master's degree, which I have been working on, but at this moment I am not. I'm looking forward to it in the future. But I know like this association, I think, can offer a great discount for people that are qualified. So that can be something great. What I offer, it's really a complementary, and it's that the mindfulness therapy is not recognized as a psychologist. I know some psychologists will add that to their services, but it's not. I'm not part of the Black Therapist.
Okay. So what sort of books can parents go? I'm just thinking about the cash-strapped parent right now. Are there books to read about mindfulness? If you say, okay, I can't afford a therapist, but yeah, I got some time, I can kill time, I can read, I can listen to a podcast. Are there books or such podcasts you can recommend?
Oh my gosh, there's plenty. If you just click on mindfulness podcast for children or mindfulness for parents on Spotify or on iPhone, depending where you get your podcast from, you will get a lot coming up. YouTube is a great tool. Honestly, YouTube is amazing. You can find guided meditation, you can find exercise, you can find so many out there. Like right now, me, because my focus is really emotional intelligence, mindfulness based, like I would recommend like the other kind of smart. It's a book that I'm actually reading right now and I just love it. And yeah, books. Oh my, we will need another another interview because I have so many books that are appropriate for kids that
Okay.
can just help just to do
Okay, well, that's fine, but at least you've given us.
rich
Yeah.
me, and I can give you an extensive list of books they can use at home, no problem. But many of them, honestly, you can find them on YouTube and even have them read, like guided stories for sleeping time or things like that. YouTube is amazing.
Got it. Now, tell us about your event with your collaboration at the Africa Center. And I wanted you to reflect on why puberty may be a time of discomfort for teens and for children generally.
Yes, so this workshop I am doing with African Center is focused on the change that happened in puberty. And the reason why I work with little ones, and the teenager, it's because they're both going through a lot of changes that require a lot of emotional turmoil, right? There's a lot going on when there's a change, it's always stressful. And there's a lot of anxiety that come with change. And even us as adults, when there's a major change coming, we can feel it and we get stressed about it. So during the puberty, with all the change that happen physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, it's a moment that you feel so lost and you feel like you are alone and you're the only one going through and you wonder if you're normal. And that's why I really love working with that group of age. And as a teacher, I work 6 years in elementary and 6 years in junior high. So I'm very comfortable with that age group. I know some people find them like a little bit overwhelming because they can be very challenging. But once you understand where that challenge come from, you actually just appreciate them because you're like, oh my gosh, I feel your pain. I know where you're coming from. And that workshop, it's really to guide them. What can they do when they feel like their parents are against them, the whole authority system is against them? What can you do when you start to feel all those emotions that are rushing into you and you start to see your body changing and you don't know if you're normal? Some will change very quick and some will take a little bit longer. When it comes just a period, some kids get their period in grade 4 and some other will only get them in grade 9. And that can be a little bit anxious for them. Am I normal? Is it okay if this and this is happening to me? So just to give them, I want this workshop to be a moment where they're gonna get out of it with tools and understanding and feeling confident and empowered that this is normal and this is something amazing. And just like the butterfly go through these changes before it can come out of that cocoon, it's normal. I don't want them to feel like they are dying like I did when I was a teenager. I remember the first time I had my period, I thought, oh my God, I'm dying. I'm gonna bleed myself to death. And I didn't know what was going on with me. And I think I was way too young. So again, to come back to what I said previously, I really wanna be part of the change and to be that person I needed when I was going through that phase. that, was very traumatic for me. So this whole workshop is really to empower the young teen to feel like, to embrace that change, that becoming a woman doesn't have to be a dragging and negative experience. It can be positive.
Mm.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I grew up with my auntie that, and the kind of mindset she encouraged us to have, and I know is the kind where you're meant to cover your chest, right? And I think it's synonymous with apostle, but it's a strand of Christianity, the apostolic church, I can't pronounce the word. And they ask you to cover up everything. And what it made me feel ashamed of myself. And it was until maybe I left Nigeria and I was going out with a friend, and our mom was dressing her up and our mom was pushing things down. Like, oh, wow, really? Our mom was just helping her look trendy because we were both in our 20s. But I was just told to cover up. I was encouraged to wear baggy. I mean, that's probably explains why I have no sense of fashion.
I totally get you. I remember like one of the aunts at church telling me, you don't want to be the reason for men that to fall in sin. I'm like, so I can make them sin by my body? Like,
well, it's terrible. I will make the mistake with my daughter though. I just want her to show her legs if she needs to show her legs, just to be free, to enjoy her own sexuality, I think. I was just told that it was evil. I was evil. Just cover up. I didn't like it.
I've been told that I have the spirit of the siren on me.
Oh dear, not good. I'm just still working out those demons from my childhood. All those evil things they said to me.
But after the second time, I was just like, I have to look it up. What is that demon?
You can laugh about it now.
Because I didn't understand. I'm like, if this is God gift, God made me this way.
Yeah.
I would God made me in a way that I am to cause a sin to someone, and I would make a man fall. For me, it didn't make any sense. But like you, I grew up with a lot of body shame.
Yeah, body shame is the word, where you are not meant to be proud of your body. You're meant to just look down and be miserable. Yeah, that was my background. That was how I grew up. I was not meant to feel happy in myself as a girl, a lady, or a woman. Well, thank you for the work you do. There's a lot going on right there, a lot of trauma, a lot of trauma, like why? And so the way I deal with it is, if my daughter wants to wear within the house, I never wore short pants in the house. I wasn't even allowed to, because a Christian girl should not, and they make you feel like you're married to the devil himself because of the clothes you choose to wear. And
No, even when I get married because I've been told it's better to get married than to burn in hell. And the body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. It belongs to you.
It's messed up.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
It's messed up. Yeah, I feel so, it's messed up. Yeah, it's messed up. So tell us where, 2023, how can we register our children for this event with the Africa Center?
So you have to contact the African Center directly.
Okay.
And talk to Tawa. She's the one in charge of this workshop. And you cannot register with me for this one. You have to go through them. However, if someone needs more information on the upcoming workshop, or to just work with me, they can find me on my website at mindfulness.ca, or on Instagram. I am on Instagram as well.
Okay, your website is www.marynoah.com, and people can
mindfulness.ca. The mindfulness.com, it's actually for I do mindfulness for adults with complex PTSD.
Okay.
So that one is really for people that are dealing with PTSD or complex PTSD. But for children, it's the mindfulness services.ca. So
mindfulnessservices.ca.
yeah, services with a S at the end.ca.
Okay, Mary, Noah, and that Temramye. How do I pronounce that? In the Temramye. Okay, sounds really exotic. I want to say thank you very much, Marino. You're very beautiful. Your personality is beautiful. And I'm taking from here, be the change. You know, you wanted to see change in the classroom and you did something about it. You know, be the change. I want to thank you because that is what being a hero is like in a nutshell. You know, changing your life and just being that change. So thank you so very much for joining us on the show tonight. I'm going to end the recording, but I'm going to ask for you to stay on. Was there anything else you wanted to say before we go?
Just thank you for asking me for this. And I really enjoyed the discussion we had.
Ah, lovely.